Hello, 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 hello. All right, we're back on again. Sorry about the delay, y'all. We're just trying to do our best, trying to get this thing together. Oh, wait, hold on. Okay, all right. I think it works. All right, perfect. So again, let's try this again. Good evening, everyone. We are back online again. We're in episode 4. I think this is going to be a podcast little series. So as you're watching us tonight, be sure to share this and invite your people to come on out. We are talking a deep and relevant and awesome topic tonight. I'm so glad my good preacher friend, my preacher sister, she's been more busy than I have. She's been on the air longer than I have. So I'm just excited that she's joining us again. As you know, I'll introduce you to some that are watching for the first time, present to others that have been consistent with us. Minister Jasmine Pope, founder, CEO of Blessings in Disguise, life coaching and counseling services. So again, she's available. Amen. But thank you so much, look, for taking time. Look, you've been busy yourself, haven't you?
Yes. Just got finished with the Bible study myself. Now I'm here, but I'm excited. I'm ready.
Hallelujah. Look, you are on the road. You on the road. Listen, you better start. You look on top of what you do already. Bible, might as well do them booking. Look. Go ahead, get that look.
Well, the book is on the way.
No, not the book. No, the booking. Conferences. And, don't you have that already?
I have it for my business, for the clients, but yeah, I need the booking email site.
For you.
Yeah.
Personal.
Yeah.
Make that look, Jasmine Lynn Ministries, it's coming. I speak it in the atmosphere. Yes, Lord. Yes, Lord. All right. Let me don't stop. Look, let's get to the topic at hand. So me and Minister Pope, we were talking about a couple weeks ago. We took a break because our lives got busy, as some of you guys probably already know. I had a busy last week, Lord have mercy. So we just had to take time, use that self-care, because we can't talk something we don't practice. Right. So that's what we did. So now that we are back on, the topic we're talking about tonight is rejection. Woo! That's a big R word. I look, that rejection piece is really deep, Mr. Pope, because I'm just thinking to myself, like, so I don't know if it's something that I guess we bias it, but I look at rejection like in a relationship. So I'm like, okay, not even a relationship. So let's say in the area, okay, I start talking to somebody, right? Mm-hmm. So as I'm talking to somebody, all of a sudden they don't want me. So I'm like, well, dang, and then it's like, for me, I'm like, okay, it happened, life happens, and you just keep on going. But what do you say to people that their way of processing that isn't as like, okay, it happens, or what do you say people that say, okay, it happens? Well, how can we define rejection here? What does it look like?
So I think that's a good way to start, is what is really rejection? Because a lot of times most people do look at it in the context of more of those intimate relationships. Like you said, I'm trying to talk to somebody and it doesn't pan out and whatever, we move on. But as I was studying and preparing last night, some of the words that come up when we're talking about rejection are where you are refused, you're dismissed, you're not accepted, you're refused. And that comes in a variety of different ways. And so maybe it's not in the context of a relationship, but maybe it comes from you didn't get that job. You didn't get accepted into school. You were trying to be friends with someone and they pushed you away. There's so many different ways that, maybe you gave an idea for a project and they didn't like it, or they didn't accept it. They brushed it off. All of those are different ways that we experience rejection. So now as we, have kind of put a definition on it, then we look at the way that it's experienced. Rejection really is pain. In some way, shape, or form, you felt pain because of that dismissal, right? Everybody experiences pain differently. So for some people, like you said, I can just brush it off. I'm okay. I'll move forward. I'm good. Some people, they become angry. Some people then go on to battle low self-esteem and depression, suicidal thoughts. So it all really depends on who you're dealing with. But there's so many different ways that it comes out.
So let me ask you this, because I want to play the other side of this, because we may be speaking to somebody that's watching this tonight. So how I look at it, so let's say I know rejection is going to happen. So how I take away, or how I process it, or what I do to avoid it, is I don't put myself in that. So I just completely shut myself off. Mm-hmm. So what is should I change the way I am? Because if I know that I'm going to be rejected, why would I put myself out there to be rejected? You hear what I'm saying?
So I think we have to look at rejection in context, right? Because a lot of times when we get rejected in some way, shape, or form, we take it in as I'm not good enough. Mm-hmm. Maybe what I presented wasn't, useful to whoever it was, or I need to change myself, kind of like you said. Sometimes it's not that. Sometimes we are dealing with people who literally can't accept us for us. They can't accept our ideas. They feel like they're better than us, and so they push us away. Sometimes people can also see what is great within us. They see characteristics that they wish they had themselves. And instead of being able to just say, okay, you've got something that I desire to have. How can we work together to build our strengths and become better? I try to push you away. I try to make you feel less than. And it's not me that's the issue. It's that person that's the issue. So we have to look at it from the standpoint of, stop looking at it from the standpoint of, it's something wrong with me all the time. Because that's not generally it. Sometimes there are things that we can always work on and improve, absolutely. But sometimes, most of the time, it's not that.
Okay, so here's the thing that I kind of want to push then when we talk about about that entire reality. So what are, when you talk about being getting that place of depression, or having thoughts of suicide, or some maybe it's not that extreme for some people, or maybe it's just like they end up being angry and they change who they are as a result of that one thing that has happened. And I think, and I go to the context, because actually one of my friends, he actually preached a sermon in Acts 1, where as they were choosing the disciples, Matthias, if I'm not mistaken, was chosen, but Justus was the one that wasn't chosen. And so he preached from the perspective of Justus, that was not chosen as the replacement for Judas. So I'm thinking in a biblical sense, because we don't really hear from Justus. And most of the time, when we talk about the text and stuff like that, we really can't really take more out than what it already says, and what it means in that context. But when and maybe I'm thinking in a biblical sense. So is it toxic theology then? And we can both share on this. And like I said, I always like to ask the question, is it toxic theology if we tell people how to handle it? Well, they rejected Jesus, so you got to keep on pushing. So talk about that.
So I think we have to look at it in the understanding of why they rejected Jesus. They rejected Jesus because they did not know him. They rejected Jesus because they felt he was a threat to what they knew as life, and the understanding of what they thought was, spiritually and all of that. They were in, so many ways intimidated by him, fearful of him. They thought that, he was trying to create himself to be this supreme being that he was not, even though he really was. It was their own personal insecurities that made the people reject him.
Mm.
But when you look at Jesus and how he operated, he knew what his assignment was. He knew who he was, and he continued to persevere. He did not let those times, he did not let those people and what they had to say about him change him and what he knew that he was supposed to be doing and who he was supposed to be. So in that sense, we have to model ourselves in that model of Jesus and not just using it in the cliche form of, well, they rejected Jesus and, they're going to reject you too. No, I use Jesus as the model to say, okay, yes, they rejected him because of their own issues and their own inconsistencies and all of that stuff. So as long as I continue to stand and be true and know, not true in being wrong, but when I'm being true and being right and doing the right thing, as long as I keep doing what I'm supposed to do, everything else around me doesn't matter. People are going to feel how they feel about you. You have to have the understanding of the sense of self to know that I keep persevering because I know that I'm fearfully and wonderfully made the way that God made me. Period.
So let me ask you this then. Let me ask you this, because you said something about people going to, people going to feel how they feel. So in the context, why is it that it's such a hard time for us to accept this reality when we sometimes, those who are in the church, that's our center staple, is that people affirm us or people have to like us, and if not, then we if they reject us in church, then it like we just lose our ever loving mind. So I'll let you go first, and then I'll come and get my spiel. So talk a little bit about that. About us wanting to please people, having this desire. We just have to please this person in the church, this ministry leader or this preacher, pastor. You talk more about that.
I think, it's multifaceted. So I think there's the standpoint of when you want to see yourself elevate in ministry and get to that next level, you feel like you've got to do all the things right and be up under that person and, not make any mistakes so that so that you present yourself as this person that they're going to look at as transitioning, for transitioning and things of that nature. I think it comes from the lifestyle that we live now, especially, dealing with a lot of us as millennials, is social media. Social media gives us this sense of being where we feel like, I got to have all the likes. I got to have people comment. I got to present myself the right way and do the right things. And so we take a false sense of reality and try to apply it to all of life.
Wow.
Right? So, and that's not reality. That's not realistic that we can do that. But because that's become our life of always doing that, we try to present and try to block rejection, when at the end of the day, it's necessary to help make us stronger, to help build us. If you got everything that you wanted, when you wanted it, and how you wanted it, you wouldn't believe that it was God that gave it to you. You would think it was all itself. So sometimes we have to experience that hurt and that pain. So it humbles us to always go back to him for that upbuilding of who we are, for the strengthening, for the assignment that he's given our lives. But we have to get to the place where we stop comparing ourselves to everybody and looking and just be solidified in who we are. That's the time that we live in, is that we're looking at everybody's life and not being accepting of our gifts and how we do it. I don't preach how you preach. That doesn't make me look at you, myself, as any less than. That's my gift is my gift and your gift is your gift. You're going to reach people that I won't reach. But if we continue to fight over who's reaching the people the better way, we miss the mark.
Yes,
you
really hit the nail on the head. And I'm thinking to myself, I'm just looking at everything, and I'm just thinking about everything that's going on. And, the fact is that, we're still at our houses, we're still inside, and all of these things, And now we have a chance, now that we're not in church, that we have to like reflect on these things. I really honestly think that with everything that's going on, I just think that now that we have to come to grips with the fact, is that I'm just gonna be honest. I feel that, you know, sometimes church hurt, and I mean it's not all church hurt. I feel like some church hurt comes from a place where, you know, rejection has happened. That because that particular person, we reached out to them, we put them on a high pedestal, and we said that they are awesome, they're doing this, that, and the other. And when they don't live up to our expectations, or they do something to us, or not even to us, indirectly, and it's a form of rejection. Boom, it's like boom, we hurt, and you know, it is painful, and you know, church hurt, and we can't look, and we put that on other people undeservingly, and we never really give them a chance, because we have invested into one person, or or to one entity, rather than on God. And as a result, now it's like this continuous, never ending cycle of, you know, continuously like experiencing all those things. And I mean, and my thing is, when it comes to plea, I just honestly, and maybe this is just me, I think we do such a good job by trying to play the role. And what I mean by that is, we play the role so that other people can be like, hey, you, there you are, there you go, there you go. You doing an awesome job. You doing a great job. So we get that pat on the back, get that congratulations, get that post or something like that. And you know, if we don't get that, some people are like, well, I don't care, because only what I do for Christ will last. But some people are like, well, I need that. That's what maybe that's what I thrive off of. And maybe there's something that happened in their life that, you know, that's their mindset. I don't know. I mean, that's
Right. And at the end of the day, even if it's not that we are looking for full approval of people, we always want to know that our work is good. You know, I mean,
mm,
ever since we've been in school, you do work so you get a good grade. You get some type of
right.
recognition from it. So we always, kind of come back to that. But I think the one thing that I have learned in this season is that you can do all of the good, you can do everything on point, you can be who you need to be, and there are just some people who are not going to give you that, and you have to be able to learn how to accept it from those who are willing to give it to you, who truly recognize the good that you do, and stop worrying about the rest.
Yes, yes,
So many times
yes,
we get focused on, once again, going back to those likes, we get so focused on the number. How many people are coming to me and telling me all this. If at the end of the day, it's only one person that says, you know what, Jazz, you did a great job today, or Jazz, you really helped me with this today, when you taught this lesson or you preached or whatever. At the end of the day, that's all that matters.
yes, yes.
That's it. Because you're not going to reach everybody every time. You're not going to, every message isn't for everybody. Sometimes it is that one person that God strategically gave you that message for. But we miss the mark because we're looking for, we know sister such and such is going to shout on this side, and we know this person is going to do this on this side. And when that doesn't happen, then we beat ourselves up. And
Yeah.
now we cause our own hurt and rejection when it wasn't necessary.
Wow. That's good. That's good stuff. And let me I don't know. Let's go through. And I mean, I don't know if you wrote this down, but I'm thinking of examples. I don't know if we can run down the list of I don't want to be too specific, but with, rejection. What can you think? I mean, let's make it fun. What could be a good example of what we would call rejection? Because I mean, we were talking about this as we were going through the list. So what would be an example of church rejection? And look, my joking is, look, I asked for banana pudding, they make carrot cake.
You deserve that rejection because neither one of those are good.
Oh no. Oh no, Jazz. Oh, please, Lord. Oh, Father. Oh, Lord.
Neither
My
one of
heart
those
is
are good.
grieved.
So,
Oh, my heart is grieved.
sweet potato pie all day long, you know.
That's good. That's good. But banana pudding, okay. Like
But back to where we were. So rejection. You bring an idea to church to, you know, help. You want to, maybe it's doing some sort of event, but at the time we don't necessarily have the resources to be able to do that. You feel like because we say that, or you know, the leader says no, not right now, that is a rejection against you or your idea, but it's just saying we have to move strategically. You know, a lot of times, and when we go into that, a lot of times we don't understand what's on the back end of things, especially when it relates to the church. We don't know what the finances look like. We don't know what the calendar always looks like. We don't know just so you know what the pastor schedule looks like, because if he needs to be there, he has his own things, or she has their own, you know, her own things going on. We don't always see all of those back end things, and so we feel like, well, they didn't do it right now when I brought it, that they don't like me or they don't like my ideas, and it's not that. And then sometimes we have to assess, you know, is this right now the time for that event? If you're talking about doing a short drive in December, it's not the right time.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, shorts aren't out right now. They'll be coming out soon, but right now isn't the time for that. When we've got families who are looking for Christmas meals, or you know, just Christmas gifts, or just struggling because it's day to day. You have to know what we need to be doing. And so sometimes, you know, we have to look at those things and see, you know, it's not necessarily rejection. It's just we have to wait.
And people, and I don't know, maybe can okay. I don't want to say it and sound mean. Maybe if in a nice way, maybe people can learn how to be more understanding without me saying what I feel like saying in that situation. Is that a better way of saying it?
Explain. I think, you know, just explain.
Okay, can I make it plain?
Yes.
Get a grip. Is that better?
Yeah. I mean, I feel like when we're talking about the church, I feel like church becomes that place sometimes where we become overly emotional.
Talk about that. I want to talk about that.
So when I worked at my job, when things didn't go my way necessarily, when they upset me or my paycheck was messed up or whatever the case may have been, I still went back. I was frustrated. I didn't go to HR and argue. I didn't argue with my boss. I didn't talk about him on Facebook. I dealt with it because that was my job, right? When it comes to church, often a lot of times we come, and when things don't go the way that we want them to, or something happens that upsets us, we're very quick to turn against the church. Very quick to say, you know, well, the church didn't support me, or all of these different things. And it's just like, why do we put that weight on the church when we don't do that in other areas?
Wow.
And so there, like you said, there has to be that level of, we have to come to a place of understanding that just because the church might allow a little bit more freedom than some of these other places does not mean that we have total freedom in all things when it relates to the church. Because at the end of the day, we still have a pastor that is the head who makes the decisions, who knows the vision of the church that we are under the direction of, you know, and he's under the direction and the leadership of God. So at the end of the day, do we want him to be held accountable to God and mess up things because an emotional move on our part? No, we shouldn't want that, but oftentimes that's what happens. As my uncle said on Instagram, high expectations versus reality. We put a lot of expectations on the church, on the pastor, that aren't necessarily fair. And then when it comes to the point where we get told that no, or, not right now, or, anything along that line, we take it as rejection.
I don't even know how to really follow up, because I mean that's so it's so true. And the thing is that you can talk about, and that's the thing, we can talk about from our position, we can talk about it all the time, like we can talk back and forth and back and forth and back and forth. It can just be like tennis, but if the ball's coming back to our court and we trying to get it to your court so you can understand, there's only so much that we can say. And if they don't receive it and they take it as such, again, that highly emotional part, it's very true. you
Mm-hmm.
know it's very true when it comes to the way that us as a church reacts when it comes to those high expectations that can't be met, because the reality is that this is where we are. And because of where we are, we can't get to that place because we don't have the resources. So um I think that's so true. So and how let's look, because I mean we can talk about the church on look we can talk about church, we can talk about personal stories about rejection
Right.
in the church. We I mean we got nothing but testimonies that we can share. But my question would be more or less of what are the steps, what are the ways that we can and I know you talked about it a little bit, but like what are some good steps, like step one or step two, like what would be a way to handle those feelings of rejection? How can we go and navigate life in a better way and be the better because of it?
So, I was talking to somebody earlier, but I always tell people when we look at a situation that occurs, one, take a step back. Like, don't look at it when you're still in the emotionalism of all of it, because your emotions are always going to override. And most of the time, it's going to say, see it how you want to see it right now. You see it from your hurt, your anger, your pain, all of that. So, always assess it on the outside of the emotion. Um, but then look at it from what was my part, what was their part, what were the circumstances. Because there are always those three things that are always involved in it, right? So did I come in with a preconceived notion? Did I come in with the thought that, they should just accept my idea because I'm deaconess, sister, such and such, and, I've been here for 45 years and they need to accept my ideas? Did I come, what was my part in this? Okay. Did I maybe not explain something properly? Maybe I missed the key piece that could have helped in the situation to say, okay, maybe now, instead of a hard no to this idea, it could have been, well, let's pursue this next month when X, Y, and Z is done. Or, whatever the case may have been. Did I, was the other person in the right frame of mind? Did I go to the pastor at the right moment? Did I try to contact, or did I try to talk to him right after service when he's just got done preaching and he's not in the right space of mind to really be making decisions? Or, at a funeral, or all these other things? Did I look at, where he was, or whoever I'm talking to in this instance, what was their part in it? And then what were the circumstances? And when you put all of those together, I think it really helps us the process of knowing, was this something that I really should have taken this way? Or was I just wrong place, wrong time, in my feelings? I need to go back and reprocess.
Wow, that's good. That's good stuff. I honestly think to myself, when we talk about these steps and these ways that we can handle and deal, I think I talk from a transparent place, because a while back I couldn't handle rejection well. Look, it not only just relationships, just in general, like, and it's not because of privilege. It's just, I know that, at a place in time in my life, I know that I did feel rejection. And then I work to try to, at the time, we're trying to work to try to get affirmed by, people in my life. And when I didn't get that affirmation and I was rejected in some areas, it rocked me. It really did. And my attitude changed to where I became frustrated, mad. It didn't take much for me to get mad, get angry. It was because I just had this idea in my mind that I worked so hard not to get this rejection, knowing that it will come. And then, when I wasn't expecting it, it came again. And I was like, well, I did all this stuff to what avail, because it happened again. And I think, like, honestly, that should give us the headspace to be like, okay, you can do all of this, if you want to call it deflection, or, try to, do all these things to try to avoid it, but it eventually is going to come.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and being transparent, my thing, and I tell my husband this all the time. I'm not from Toledo, right? So when I came, I didn't, I have a few family members here, but I was really on my own. And so it definitely came to that when it was time for me to find a church home here. And so where I am now, I don't have any family. I didn't really have any friends. I came by myself. And so, they have always been a very tight-knit, community of believers. They've known each other since playing in the sandbox, and their families were connected and all of those different things. So to come into that type of thing, and then when we merged, it was my pastor's home church. So of course they've seen him grow up, and they've all been cool. So it's still, you're connected, but in a sense you still feel alone. And so as I continue to grow and develop there, I am more with those situations where it's like, dang, they don't like me, or dang, such and such said this about me, or what I mean, all of those different things. And so having dealt with low self-esteem and depression, and from an early age being told you're ugly and all of these different things, and that sticking with you, when you hit that moment where it feels like it's not necessarily that thing again, but it's hitting that piece of that pain in you, it does get to you. Like I said, it does change you, and it makes you want to be guarded. There was a few months ago, I didn't want to go back to church. I'm open and honest. I told my pastor, I'm not coming back. I'm not. If I got to suffer the consequences of that, I will. Because of what I felt that I was going through at that time. And God had to really deal with me. My husband had to talk to me. I had to talk to friends, and they were like, really? Like, you gonna let somebody get to you like that? But it was hitting that place of pain. But I had to realize that I talk to people all the time. You have to, the pain is temporary. It takes us to push past the pain to get to that place of peace, that place of comfort again.
But
if you stay right here, then all you're going to experience is the pain. So as hard as it was, as frustrating as it was, I had to be a big girl and say, all right, like, you just got to face this. And it was hard. Even thinking about going back, and being in the body, it's still hard. Because you don't know how people are going to react, or how do I feel? How do I deal with the, people and situations and all of that? But at the end of the day, I have to realize God made me. He created me for a purpose. He created me for an assignment. And these things, are just here to make me stronger. Because if I can't deal with the rejection right here, right now, when you talk about Jasmine Lynn Ministries and, walking in the word that people have said, Jasmine, you're going to the nations, you're going to get rejected all the time.
Yeah.
It's going to be somebody who don't like how they're not going to like me because I'm a woman preacher on platforms.
Look, that is right there. Look, that's right. Look, we can talk. Keep on going. I like that.
There's always going to be something. You're a young preacher. You're a woman preacher. You're you think you're educated, you think you're this. If I can't handle rejection on this level, God can't elevate me to that level where he really wants to take me.
Wow.
So I've had to grow stronger.
So they say you had to do it. It was no choice.
It's not.
Wow. And so let me ask you this. I know we're still so what do you say more or less? What do you say to someone who may be watching right now that is, they're trying to figure out their purpose? Okay, we're going back to the church. Let's say somebody figuring out their purpose. Maybe their purpose is God is calling them to be in ministry. Let's say that reality is they're a woman.
Mm-hmm.
So what do you tell aspiring women that want to be in ministry or they want to be in leadership? Because that's another big thing. So it's not only in the church, a lot of people don't accept women in leadership, and it's a rejection, it's because of sexism. So what do you say to that woman that may be watching and saying, how am I able, to grow stronger, or what do I need to do, and you can use your context, what you're doing already, or maybe something else,
Mm-hmm.
on a mental health level, because that rejection can be a little tough.
Absolutely. So one of the first things when God finally gave our pastor the release to put, let him know that we were going to that next phase in ministry, we all got paired with mentorship, right? And so when my mentor met with me, she said, "What do you want from me?" And so one of the first things I said is, "I want you to allow me to be me. I don't want to be you. I don't want to be my pastor. I don't want to be my aunts and all of those who came before me. I want to be me." You have to be strong in who you are as a woman and the identity of who God called you to be as a woman minister. Because if you're not secure in that, you become an easy target because people feel like they can mold you and make you and shape you to fit their standards and their norms,
yes.
Right? So you have to be very, very sure of who you are. And that's, not even in ministry, but that's period. When you know who you are, when you know your worth, when you know your value, when you know who you are in the sense of your relationship with God, nobody can sway that. But you have, it comes to another level when you're in ministry and dealing with that. So that's one. I would say definitely be around other people who can help you become you, who support you in that and don't want you to fit their mold and their identity. Because that's out there. People want you to be little sister such and such, little evangelist this person. And I can't be little anybody. I can only be Jasmine. But that takes me being around the right people, having them speak the right things into me. Because you can't accept every word that every person says.
Yeah.
Because everybody's not hearing from God. And so you have to have that discernment to know, are people really saying what God is saying, or are they just saying things because that's what they feel? I think another thing is, as a woman, you always have to be on your P's and Q's. You always have to be one step ahead. So, and this is something that I've struggled with because I'm a millennial. I want to have my own identity. I want to reach those, but I have to do it in the right way. And so, while I like to stand out in my clothing, I have had to tone it down in some instances. You've got to be extra careful with what you do, how you wear it, how you say it, because you're always under a microscope.
Oh my gosh. Don't look, this is some content right here, because listen, oh my gosh.
You're always under a microscope. People are always looking at you. They're looking for that thing. Even I was on social media today. Mike Todd has been in social media, just posted for at least the last 2 years, 3 years. And he's released this book, everything's good. And he did a TikTok with his wife. I don't know if you saw it. He did a TikTok with his wife, and it's like they're dancing. Nothing. It's his wife, first off. So anything that they do, it's in the context of their relationship. But somebody shared the post and was like, who's following him? He's so worldly. How is he doing this? Blah, blah, blah. They're waiting for that one thing that you do that seems to be out of religion or out of spirituality or out of tradition or just out of what they think that you should do, to be able to say you're not walking in your calling, you're not being who God called you to be. How could you be doing this? So you always kind of have to take that extra precaution to, not that you'll ever be able to stay out of the limelight, because there's always going to be something, you wear too much makeup, you dress like this, your shape is this or whatever, but just always kind of staying a step ahead, so that when those things come, it's kind of like your character has already preceded you. Your reputation has already preceded you. So people don't define you by that one moment that maybe something happened wrong.
That's good. That's good. I'm honestly thinking, because the time is of the essence. I see our time is escaping us. And I'm seeing, look, our folk ain't loyal. I'm seeing,
Right.
seeing
Because we off and now they gone.
Lord Jesus. I'm like, Lord Jesus. Look, we're gonna have to do this next week, because I'm thinking the saints in the Bible say they sleep. But I mean, this is some good conversation, some good content. So I'm thinking people gonna watch back and listen to this. So so going for, I think, like, for me, and when we talk about, just being who we are, and as millennials, I think that's that might be whatchamacallit, I think that might be something else that we can talk about going forward, is about being in ministry. I think that's a good quarantine conversation that we could talk about, is being in ministry, because both of us have experience. You being a woman, millennial, educated and degreed, and all of that stuff, and me being a young pastor, and all that good stuff.
Yes, and educated.
So here's the thing. So I look at it like this. I see some of the people, they're the brother are talking. So I think that's something that we can really delve into, because I think as millennials, I think that's something that we're still trying to figure out, is our identity in the midst of all of that. And who we are, and and I think that's a fear that we have, is that our elders are mentors, and those who have groomed us or have seen us. Again, that is something that we are in fear of being rejected.
Not living up to the standard. That fear of, you're walking, I think I had this conversation with my pastor the other day, of like, no matter where the path leads me, people will always associate me with being under your leadership. And with doing that, my pastor is not only known in the church, but he's known in the community. He sits on boards, and the mayor calls him, just to say, you're doing a good job. Like, all of these different things. And so it's like, those are huge shoes to fill, to come behind in any capacity. So it's just like, how do you do that? How do you, try not to compare yourself, but still looking at the legacy that is left before you, to say, okay, I got to keep this going. Like, I got to carry the torch and take it to another level, because that's what we're supposed to do when we come behind our predecessors. So
yes. So
definitely hard.
Yeah. So I think that's going to be something that we're definitely going to have to discuss. That's definitely something that we're going to have to talk about with that. But I think, like, just really finishing everything off, is that it's up for us, knowing is that it will happen. I mean, that's the reality of it. That's how life is. We're going to go through bad times, trials, tribulations, all that stuff. And the thing is that it's going to happen. It's bound to happen. So there's no way we can escape it. But I think that those ways that we can navigate, and to really just understand that, there's ways that we can process it and do it in healthy ways, because, it's how we bounce back after rejection that makes the difference. And I think that based upon how we bounce back, more or less, it's a huge thing. That's a huge thing.
Absolutely. We, as much as it can, we should not allow it to get us down to the point where we lose who we are, and we aren't working to still go forward and fulfill the call and the destiny that is on our lives. And so we have to, that's where we have to be strong in Him, You know, it's not about being strong in ourselves. And I think that's a big part of it, is that we try so hard to figure it out ourselves. And we beat ourselves up so much. And it's like, God is just saying, come to me. Like, I can give you the real reason of all of this. I can help you navigate all of this so that you understand it. But if you don't ever come to me, then I can't.
Yes.
So we always have to go back to the Father for that.
Yes, yes, and that is so true. That's so true. We got to go back. We got to go back to the source who gives us the ability and the power and the strength, to get us through, even in that patch of our lives. So I think we got a topic. I think we do.
Yes, we do.
I think we got a topic for next week. So we're gonna go ahead and do that. So y'all who are watching, look. They ain't loyal. Look, they ain't loyal on tonight. I just don't know why. But I understand. Look, it be like that sometimes. But what we're gonna do is we're gonna save this video, y'all, so y'all will have it. Thank y'all so much for coming on in. Minister Jazz, you have been busy. Thank you so much for taking time out of your schedule to make this happen. Look, next week we're gonna be on this time. Well, I don't know what I have to do. We're gonna have to post on everything. Instagram, Facebook, everything. You know what? I might not post this, so it's on me. It's on me too. So I ain't gonna lie. Because listen, the saints be on when we post it. So that's on me. You did your job. I need to do my job. So
we go make it happen.
Look, it happened. It happens. But again, thank y'all so much for watching on Wellness Wednesday. You guys be good. You guys be great. You guys be safe, sanitized, and most importantly, sanctified. And we love you. We love you all. And we'll see you on our next broadcast.
Yes. See y'all.